Hello, and welcome to this webinar, Odoo Apps Simplified. This webinar should be pretty helpful to anybody that's relatively new to Odoo, or even more experienced people that just want to fill in some gaps in their overall understanding. My name is Brett. I've been here about 8 years working at the Odoo San Francisco office, and I happen to enjoy talking about Odoo apps. It's a nice break from my usual day-to-day routine. So the reason why I'm doing this webinar is because if you go to odoo.com and you hover over apps, you're going to see this drop down pop up. And that is a lot of stuff. Now, there's no way around it. The truth is, it's one of our strengths, but it's true that Odoo is huge. And so one of our challenges is always to break it down so people are not as intimidated and they're not as overwhelmed, and they have a better idea of where to start when they're exploring Odoo, the software. So as you can imagine, we get a lot of questions such as, which apps do I need? Or they might say, what does that one app do? And they might say, can I get by with just one app? Or do I really need more than that to accomplish what I'm looking for? They might say, who is that app intended for? Is that app intended for people like me or companies like mine? Or is it for somebody else? And maybe most commonly what people want to know, even after they learn a lot about Odoo, they might want to know, how do these apps actually work together? So the goals of this presentation, we really want to clarify for people, what is the main purpose of every app? Why does that app exist? And I'm going to try to highlight just like one nice feature for each app to give you an idea of it and be a teaser. And then maybe most importantly, as we go, we're going to build out a map. I'm calling it the Odoo app map. And that's going to show, how is everything connected? How are these apps related to each other? Because in a lot of ways, that's where the real value of the Odoo platform comes in. And we're going to go through it one app group at a time, just like what's on our website. If you look at our website, you'll see we organize them by different business groups because it's easier that way. So we're dividing it by sales, finance and accounting, inventory and manufacturing, the services apps, websites, marketing, human resources, and then just general productivity apps. So those are our 8 groups. Now I'm going to try to simplify it all and move quickly, but to be honest, this webinar is going to still be around an hour long. So if you're watching the recording of this on YouTube, you might want to split it up one section at a time, or maybe just skip ahead to the section that is interesting to you. Otherwise, if you want to absorb it all, maybe you're watching it live right now, maybe just drink some coffee, have some caffeine, something like that. Sit back and relax. Maybe you'll want to take some notes for anything that stands out as interesting, and hopefully you'll learn something along the way and it'll be useful to you. And by the way, if you are watching this live and you have any questions as you go, feel free to ask those questions in the chat. There should be some friendly Odoo people that are watching that can give some answers. Otherwise, I'll try to answer some questions at the end. All right, so we're going to get right into it. The first group, sales apps, and that means sales, CRM, rental, subscriptions, and point of sale. The title of the group says everything. These apps are really based around making sales, making business, whether it takes place over many months or maybe it's just a quick face-to-face interaction. Sales is a really good starting point for this webinar because that's honestly where a lot of the workflows in Odoo begin within the platform. And we're going to go through it one app at a time. All right, the sales app itself. Now it works really well for entering orders and taking quotations and proposals. Basically, it works great for any kind of sales rep or any kind of sales process, whether you are just taking the order over the phone, or maybe you're getting the order through the website or something like that. Maybe you're exporting it from an external channel, or you're sending quotations. It works great for multi-channel selling, so you can split up your sales into different groups or different teams or different sources. And I think it's worth pointing out that in Odoo, sales orders, they tend to trigger a lot of actions within other apps in Odoo, which we're going to see in a bit. Highlighting a specific feature, we're going to highlight online quotations in the sales app. And if you want, you can send a unique private URL to the online version of a quotation. So instead of just sending a PDF, you could do this. And the best thing about it to me is that it's interactive. So customers, when they're viewing their quote, they're seeing what they're being quoted, they're seeing the total. If it looks good, they can sign for it right there to confirm the order. And if you want to allow it, they can actually pay for it then too by entering the credit card information. So it's a really good way to remove the barriers and just kind of get the business. The next app, the CRM app, it's meant for pre-sales. Now, CRM can mean a lot of different things in a lot of different companies, but within Odoo, it heavily is focused on pipelines, ops, and basically any activity leading up to a sale. Like all of Odoo's apps, it's mobile capable, which can really come in handy when your sales reps are out there in the field, or maybe they're just not at their computer, or maybe they're still in bed, whatever. And I would say that the forecasting capabilities and the reporting, they're really good for individuals, and they're really good for managers to get a solid idea of what money is expected for the month and the quarter. And I'm going to mention that it does a really good job of connecting to this bonus application, Odoo Contacts. Odoo Contacts, that's where all your vendor information and all of your client information is going to live. And it's a really critical part of the platform. So as a side note, I'm going to be mentioning a lot of these little bonus modules along the way. They're not technically listed on the main website page when you look at that dropdown of apps, but they're still really important, and it gives you an idea of just how much value there is to the platform. All right, so CRM feature to highlight, let's talk about the chatter. Now, technically, you're going to find the chatter everywhere across the Odoo platform. It's in pretty much all the apps, but it definitely shines in CRM. So what is it? It's a multi-purpose tool that lets you handle the external communication with your customers, mostly emails. It allows you to log internal notes and communicate internally to your other team members and your manager on stuff. It also lets you store and upload attachments like PDFs, and you can use it to track your activity over time too. So it's where a lot of the actual day-to-day productivity happens in the Odoo platform. Moving on to the rental app, it does exactly what it sounds like. It lets you check in and out products that you rent. It could be for renting physical goods and products, or maybe it's renting spaces, cars, rooms, things like that. It has a really nice scheduling tool and a planner tool that lets you see what's available and when is it going to be available to rent out. And it has particularly strong connections to accounting and inventory. For what I'm going to highlight here, I'm going to highlight that for any rental product, it's really easy to set up a whole range of different pricing options for it. So for this printer right here, you can set up different rates and maybe rent it at an hourly rate or rent it at a daily rate, and then you choose that based on the rental order. You can also add extra fees, so maybe if it's late by an hour or late by a day, it's going to tack this on to the order, and you can bill your client accordingly. The subscriptions app, it's one that we use here in Odoo a lot to run our business. It's a recurring invoice generator. That's one way to look at it. So it's going to generate invoices on a recurring basis. It's great for contracts. It's good for ongoing services, for licenses, and software as a service, which is where it's so useful for us at Odoo. It has a really smooth accounting integration, which is important because it's automatically posting invoices and automatically collecting payments if you set it up that way. And it has a really nice online portal, which is what I'm going to highlight. The online customer portal here is where your customers can go in and they can manage the subscription and the billing directly from that online portal. And they can see what are they being billed for, when are they going to be billed next. And what's also very nice is they can go in and they can select the payment method to update the payment method. Maybe they're using a credit card or something. There's a number of different payment methods that are supported, and some of the main ones for recurring billing are Stripe, Ingenico, and Authorize. And the last of the sales apps to highlight is Point of Sale, and that's for face-to-face selling. So as in retail stores, restaurants, trade shows, maybe selling out of the back of your car, whatever. It has tons of easy hardware integration options. So for connecting to physical devices, especially things to collect payment. And it has a perfect inventory and accounting connection, which to me, that's really what sets it apart from most of the point of sale tools out there, like Square, for example. I would say from what I've seen, nothing connects to point of sale to accounting and inventory as well as Odoo does. And I want to highlight a relatively new feature. As I mentioned before, it can work well with restaurants, and there's a lot of specific features with point of sale when it comes to restaurants. But one really cool thing is that if you take an order for a table, you get to see that show up in the back end for the kitchen crew to look at, and they can have a nice, easy view about which orders are pending, which are ready to be served, which ones did they complete earlier. And for each of those, you get to see how long has it been since they placed the order. Nice and easy. Okay, so those are our 5 sales apps. Now we're going to start building up this Odoo map, and beginning with those. I'm going to zoom in right here so you can see it better. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to list out some connections, and that's going to be represented as a line. And that line is a connection or a workflow between 2 apps. So first off, the CRM app and the sales app, they're very closely connected because you can create quotes and sales directly from CRM opportunities and leads. You could also call that native quoting. So say your sales rep is working with a customer for a couple weeks on a CRM opportunity and they're ready to make a quote. They click a button and suddenly they're using the sales app to make that quotation but it's all part of that same smooth workflow. Any rental order, it's basically just a modified version of a sales order because it shares all the same characteristics as a sales order, but it also has rental abilities. And then same thing with subscriptions. Subscriptions are really based around sales order functionality. The main difference is that there's recurring products and it's going to automatically generate more invoices over time. And then finally, from within the point of sale app, you can access existing quotations and existing sales orders. So for example, maybe a person got a quote from you 2 weeks ago, and then they go into your shop face to face and they say, yeah, I got a quote on something. Can you look it up? With our point of sale software, you can actually look that up from within there and see any open quotations and things like that to work with. So you can see a few connections already. The Odoo app map, it's looking really small for now, but we're going to build it out as we go. And to be honest, it's going to get a little crazy, but let's move on. The next group is our 6 finance apps. Before I say another word, I'm going to drink some water. Oof. So we're looking at invoicing, accounting, expenses, spreadsheet and BI, documents, and sign. So obviously these apps, they're mostly meant for your accountants, for your CFOs, bookkeepers, and business owners to work with. But you'll also see that they have a lot of plenty of use for other employees in the organization too. So the invoicing apps, where we're starting with, it's for both invoices and it's for bills. I think it's really nice that making your first invoice, it's very easy and it's very intuitive. You can do it in just a matter of seconds compared to a lot of software like SAP. It's super easy. And the same thing goes for bill management. If you can make an invoice, then you'll know how to make a bill. It's very, very easy. It's also important to highlight that in Odoo, many apps require invoicing in order to work. So sales, purchase, accounting, they're all kind of based off of invoicing. So it's very fundamental. As a spotlight feature, I really like the configure your document layout wizard, if you want to call it that. So to show what an invoice is actually going to display like when you send it to your customers. So for example, you have 4 basic templates to work with, but they all look very different to suit different needs. And I really like the fact that if you want to, you can give it your company logo and it'll automatically extract colors and then apply those to the formatting of the invoice document. I think it's really nice. It's really user-friendly and the first impressions to somebody are very important. So cool feature. Now accounting, that's the big head honcho of the finance apps. And I like to say that accounting lets you automate as much as you want, but it also gives you full control to override stuff and it gives you really robust reporting. So most activities, most functions in Odoo, they do tend to flow down to accounting. So sales flows to accounting, inventory stock accounting, that flows that way as well. It also means that accountants, they can easily go back and trace records to their starting point very easily, which is nice. There's a lot of ways for them to automate the customer follow-up interaction, either through automatic follow-up or something like that, or time-saving tools like optical character recognition, which we'll get into. And then, of course, the reporting. It's extremely critical in accounting. So there's really strong dynamic reports like the general ledger, the profit and loss, and they're all customizable too. I want to highlight the way that Odoo handles bank synchronizations and reconciliation. So first, you can set up an online bank synchronization so that your banks and your credit cards, they're automatically bringing in statements in real time. Saves a lot of time. And then from those statement lines, you can match it up to stuff within Odoo. What makes it really special is how advanced it can be for automatically doing a lot of the matching for you, using models and using AI even. It saves a ton of time. And my sister, actually, she is in charge of reconciliation at her real estate company that she works for. And I feel bad for her because they have this really old system where reconciliation takes forever and it's really complicated. So I'm trying to get them to switch over to Odoo because I know it would really change her life. Expenses, it's a system for employees to manage their expense reports in a way that directly connects with accounting. So it's useful for employees that are logging travel expenses, work from home expenses, that kind of thing, especially if they're looking to be reimbursed. It's very user-friendly to the point where employees could submit their expenses if they're out traveling very, very quickly, usually from their phone. So for example, if you have a sales rep out in the field, they might need to expense their lunch with the client. On the other end of the flow, it's convenient for managers because they might need to approve that expense or reject that expense. And then, of course, any approved expenses and payouts, they automatically flow smoothly into accounting. And so, yeah, as a cool feature, optical character recognition, or OCR, you can use it so that when a receipt is added, it can automatically scan that and then generate the expense record for you, as you can see here. It's taking the total 478 and it's putting it right there. It's taking the date and it's putting it right there. Very handy and saves a lot of time. And you should know actually that OCR is an in-app purchases feature, meaning that it uses a system of credits. You can buy credits and then use those for in-app functions. There's a few of those like that in Odoo, and luckily they're pretty affordable. It doesn't take a whole lot of credits to do this. This is a really interesting one that was added more recently to the website. This is Spreadsheet and BI. And what it really is, it's a way for you to gain business intelligence, which is BI, using a combination of spreadsheets and dashboards together. So first off, you can generate spreadsheets inside of Odoo that are populated in real time by any of the data throughout the system. It's kind of like Google Sheets, except it's within Odoo and it's fed by real Odoo data. And then you have dashboards. Now, truthfully, it's not just for finance because dashboards can be used for most of the apps, but we group it under finance because it's one of the most common use cases. So the interesting thing about it is that all dashboards, they're actually built using Odoo spreadsheets. So they're based off of an Odoo spreadsheet, and that's how they're related. And it's amazingly useful because it gives you a ton of power and insight and ways to visualize your data, even though it's really easy to master, because if you want to set it up or tweak it or configure it or make your own, you really just have to know basic familiarity of spreadsheets. So one really cool use is, one cool feature is the use of filters. So here's a dashboard that we're looking at. You'll see along the side here, there's a ton of different built-in dashboards in Odoo. This specific one is related to all of your invoices. Up at the top, you have a bunch of different filters, and one is for the salesperson. So we've selected a particular salesperson named Mark Demo, and when you do that, it immediately filters all of your invoice dashboard information to just the stuff that is invoices for Mark Demo. And you can stack multiple filters, and it's super versatile, super powerful. The Documents app, it is a full document management system for uploading and importing or editing and sharing your different business records. You can import, and in many cases, you can scan them using OCR like we saw before, and you can create cool rules for where those documents get stored, who they're owned by, things like that. The way it's organized, to me, it's a lot nicer and a lot more easy to work with than something like Google Drive. And I'm not just saying that, I really do think it's a big improvement over it. And it has really great editing tools like splitting. So if you have a 12-page PDF, but you want to only turn it into a 3-page PDF, you can do it really quick using some splitting and recombining tools. It's nice. This is a huge feature that comes with the Documents app, which is the ability to set up certain actions based on what the document is. So over here on the left, you have received this document via an email from a vendor. And you might choose to do one of these actions on the right, like you might want to create a vendor bill directly from it and use OCR to scan the document and generate the entry. So all of these actions over here, there's something you can customize to say who gets copied on it, who's the owner, what journals and accounts are used, automated emails, whatever. So it goes a step beyond just managing and keeping documents. It really does actually allow you to control a lot of workflows from it. And the Sign app, it's a really simple but effective app that lets you set up digital signatures on documents, kind of like DocuSign. It's basically Odoo's DocuSign. Any PDF will work, whether it's a template that you use a lot or maybe it's just a one-time thing. I use it a lot for whenever a client sends us an NDA to sign. So a lot of times they'll just give me like a PDF document of an NDA. I'll upload it into Odoo Sign, drag a couple fields over, and then sign it really quick. After I read it, of course. And it can be incorporated into your flows like contracts, HR employee contracts. And the best thing is how you can incorporate actual Odoo data fields to save time and make it more professional. Like, for example, you can incorporate the company address, document numbers, that kind of stuff. As a key feature, I'm going to talk about the way you build the templates. So in this example, there's a signature field, and you can specify that it should always be the customer that signs it out and fills it out. And then you can have other fields that need to be signed and filled out by the employee. And many of different kinds of fields exist, and it's all just basic drag and drop to modify it. Super easy to work with. And once you have your template built out, you can reuse it. So back to the app map. Now we're going to add the 6 finance apps. I'm going to put it up on the top because CFOs like to think that, finance apps are the top of the food chain. And it's fair. You'll notice that I'm combining invoicing and accounting into one. I'm just calling it accounting because that's exactly how it works within an Odoo database too. If you have invoicing and accounting installed in an Odoo database and you log in, you're just going to see accounting. Don't really worry about it. It's fine. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in and let's look at some connections. The expenses app, it creates journal entries in accounting the moment that you post an expense. The dashboards and the spreadsheets, they're often used to give you insight into financial data, like tracking budgets, for example. So it's relying a lot on financial data to do that. Though, as I mentioned, spreadsheet and BI, it's really something that connects to all the apps. So if I really wanted to, we could connect lines to all sorts of apps. I'm not going to do that though, because it'd be a big mess. The Documents app, it lets you automatically generate vendor bills from documents that you receive, like in the example we shared earlier. And any of these documents can get digital signatures using the Sign app for contracts. So that's within the finance apps. Outside of the finance apps, you'll also see there's connections where you can create invoices from sales. It's a very normal workflow. And you can create invoices automatically through subscriptions. So those tie directly to accounting. And then same with point of sale. With POS, you can have those transactions and the payments flow into accounting too, which is really important. By default, I think they usually show up in the cash journal, but you can change it however you want to. So, well, there it is. Our app map, it's starting to take shape. It kind of looks like the letter Y or maybe like a bunny rabbit right now. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next group as I take a drink. All right. Our third group is the inventory plus manufacturing apps. You might also call these the logistics or the supply chain apps. Primarily, it's these big three: inventory, purchase, and manufacturing. The other three, they're mostly considered add-ons to manufacturing: quality, PLM, which is product lifecycle management, and maintenance. These apps, they're for companies that deal with physical goods like distribution companies, manufacturing companies, obviously. They're some of the most robust apps that we have. They have a ton of features, and each topic can be really huge. So if you really want to get into any of them, I do recommend watching a webinar or watching videos specifically about that topic. The inventory app, it's one of my favorites. It lets you ship, receive, and store products. It can be really critical for basically any product or any company that has physical stuff. So whether you're storing it in your own warehouse, or maybe you're storing it somewhere else, or maybe you only have one stock room, it's good for that. It's detailed WMS system, warehouse management system, with multi-warehouse capabilities, multiple locations, and has a really strong product catalog capability. So you can have a lot of details with how you manage your products. It also, as a bonus app, has full barcode capabilities using barcode. Barcode also applies to manufacturing too, so it can save a lot of time and help you modernize. As a feature to highlight, forecast pop-ups. So it's really useful within other apps, and you can see it within purchase orders, manufacturing orders, or quotations like in this screenshot. So this is a quotation in the sales app, and it's represented by this little color-coded icon right here. If you click on it, it's a little pop-up that shows you the forecasted availability for that product. And if you want more information, you can click on it and it'll take you to a whole forecasted view and a timeline that shows you when are you going to have it, and as well as having links to any related purchase orders or any orders that are out there if you want to get more information. So it's really great that you can have all of that at your fingertips just from while you're making a quotation. The purchase app, it's a lot like our sales app, except that you use it to buy things from suppliers using RFQs and purchase orders. Now, a lot of the strength comes from how you can automate stuff, like the creation of purchase orders using reordering rules, the master procurement schedule, or just-in-time triggers like make to order. So a lot of it is how you can automate the things that drive your supply chain. Other popular features exist, like the approval levels, the ability to do subcontracting, and drop shipping. Those are all highlights too. And of course, it flows very neatly into accounting through making vendor bills off of your purchase orders. I'll highlight reordering rules because Odoo users tend to really love it. And it's a big step up if you're just using spreadsheets. Basically, for every product like this graphics card right here, you can set minimum and max rules, like you need to have a minimum of 10 in stock. And so then if it dips below 10, Odoo can automatically generate a draft purchase order for you in the purchase app for that draft graphics card. Now, there's a lot more to it than that because that's a very basic understanding of it, but that's the basic idea, and it can really improve the efficiency of your supply chain. Manufacturing, very modern tool, emphasis on modern. for production planning and for building out products using components from your inventory. There's so much to say about it. It's a huge, complex topic that I really like, with a lot of cool features. Some of the easy highlights are just how easy it is to work with your bill of materials and your BOMs, and structuring those. There's a lot of flexibility in it, not just in terms of the overall processes, but per manufacturing order, you can be very flexible with it too. And I do want to mention that this, because it doesn't get enough love, but we also have this additional module called repairs, and it's really good if you ever need to use it as an add-on to work with existing manufactured goods to swap out components later down the line. Repairs app, big fan. So I'm showing this new feature of Odoo 17, which is the shop floor. The shop floor, it's something that you can use if you're going to divide your manufacturing process into different work centers and different work order operations. It's an easy to use visual display of all the jobs in progress, and it lets you allocate the workers that you have. It lets you move through different operations. You can jump into a really nice tablet view, and it's all optimized very well to work on a tablet. Next, we got the quality app, and that's useful for whenever a company needs to verify that things are meeting certain standards of quality. Basically, you set up control points in manufacturing and in inventory so that employees have to complete a quality check of some sort. There are a lot of different kinds of quality check that you can do, like just pass or fail, or it could be take a measurement, photo, worksheets. And separately, employees, they could trigger quality alerts themselves if they need to let the quality team know that there's some sort of quality issue, and they can take corrective or preventative action for it. As a key feature, I really like the quality worksheets. It's a type of quality check, and basically it's something that you can custom build yourself. And by doing it, you can use easy drag and drop tools to have whatever you need that's product specific or specific to that process. So for example, you can have some nice multiple choice selection fields to choose, or they might have a date to enter, or they might just be putting in some comments, and the system is going to store all that data, and that data might determine whether this thing passes or fails. Product Lifecycle Management, or PLM, it is specifically used to introduce new products or new bill of materials, and it's used to update existing stuff through revisions and versions. So if you have a version 1, a version 2, a version 3, that's what this is for. It has a really nice engineering change order workflow that's represented as different Kanban stages. You know, it's new, it's in progress, it's finished, that kind of thing. It easily lists all of the changes that you've made to the bill of material over time. And it has a really nice approval role feature built into it that's going to block this revision from being complete unless you've gotten all the necessary approval first. So I'll show you how bill of material changes are somewhat redlined in the PLM app. It's a nice feature. Basically, while you're updating your bill of materials and you're making changes to it with, this revision over here, it's going to automatically keep track down here in this tab of any bill of material changes. So in this case, it's actually removed this old leg and it's added this new leg over here. So in real time, it keeps track of any change that you've made to it. So it's nice and helpful. And then the last one of this group is the maintenance app for preventative and reactive maintenance on equipments, especially equipment that is used in manufacturing, I would say. So things like drills, lathes, mills, CNC machines. You can use it to set up preventative schedules to happen on a recurring basis. And it does a really good job of analyzing the downtime and the estimated downtime of your equipment over time. Key feature, I like the fact that you can do maintenance requests from the shop floor. So any worker, they might be using some work center and completing their manufacturing, and then they need to request maintenance because something's broken. So they can click this button from while they're doing their work, and then it's going to send it to the maintenance team. They'll get a full report on what the problem is, and then they can go through it and hopefully repair the equipment as needed. So where do the inventory and manufacturing apps fit on the app map? I'm choosing to put them here in the top right because I want them to connect well with both financing and the sales app, because that's what they do. They connect really well with sales. They connect really well with finance. Let's zoom in here. First off, manufacturing and inventory, they are very closely related because your manufacturing orders, they use components from your inventory. And then when you produce stuff, those go into your inventory too. Purchase orders have a very close connection to both inventory and manufacturing too, because within purchasing, a lot of the demand for what you buy, it's going to be coming from manufacturing, and you're going to receive stuff and it's going to go into your inventory. So honestly, this is kind of like this holy trinity of apps within your inventory and manufacturing apps. purchase, manufacturing, inventory work very closely together. Then the quality app, it lets you have quality checks throughout both inventory and manufacturing. PLM, as I mentioned, it lets you do version control of your existing bill of materials in manufacturing. And then the maintenance app, it's used to service maintenance equipment in manufacturing. Connecting to some of the other groups, sales orders in the sales app, they often trigger delivery order shipments. So if you sell something, chances are you then need to ship it out from inventory. And they can also create purchase orders. Sometimes you sell something and immediately you need to buy it, maybe through drop shipping. So they connect to purchase really well too. And they can create manufacturing orders as well for make to order things. So yeah, sales connects to this stuff in a very big way. Finally, vendor bills, they're created from purchase orders and those go into accounting. If you're using automated inventory valuation, then all stock moves can create journal entries as well, but that's optional. Okay, so far in just those first 3 app groups, we have a lot of apps and we're seeing a lot of connections and it's starting to create some kind of crazy shape. It might look weird for now, but just stay with me because we're building something. So our next group, it's the services apps. We got the project app, we got timesheets, field service, help desk, and planning. Now this is not about physical goods, but more about labor and time. There's a lot of variety here, but generally each of these apps, they have to do with providing some kind of service to your customers. The project app, it can serve a lot of different purposes within the business, but generally it's for managing your projects and managing your tasks. Now it's really business focused compared to a lot of project management tools out there. Odoo's is really optimized for anything that is business focused and client focused because it ties into sales and invoicing really well. It works great for one-off projects like you're building a house or for repeatable processes like you're following a specific template over and over again. And I should say that here in Odoo internally, we use projects for both use cases. For example, for any internal implementation, we're using a repeatable process where it follows the template every single time. But we also use it for R&D. So when we're developing a new app from scratch, that is a one-off project. And it has great uses in both cases. For a key feature, the front-end portal access of the projects is really good. So as you can see in this slide, here's a view of a project. It's the Kanban view of it. You can see new, in progress, finished, with some tasks going on. But the cool thing is what we're seeing is actually what the customer sees, because this is a front-end customer portal view of the project. And so if you want to, you can choose to share the project information with your clients so that they can have a bird's eye view into what's going on. A lot of times customers really appreciate that. If you want to, you can even go beyond that and you can say, you can have a collaborative pad where you can both communicate on it and you can both share and go back and forth. Maybe even allow them to input specific data, like maybe have them enter deadlines and things like that. So it's a lot of power and control that you can choose to grant to collaborate with your front-end facing customers. The timesheets app, very straightforward. It is for tracking the time that is spent on the various services. So they can log the time on projects, but they can also log it on help desk tickets or on field service or independent of that. It's designed so that the time can be invoiced to the client. So it's really good if you want to bill for it too. It's great for consultants. It's great for lawyers. It's great for therapists, let's say. And on the other end of it, you can allow your clients to view the timesheet entries through the online customer portal that we were just talking about. A new feature that's actually new is the billing rate leaderboard. And it's a new feature. It works really well in organizations where you're trying to optimize the efficiency of a team of employees that are logging their time. Basically, it tracks who's got the best rate of log time and who's bringing in the most value, and it ranks them. So it's very competitive. It's not for every organization, but if you have the kind of organization where you're trying to incentivize people to get the highest score, and especially if you're going to hand out recognition and prizes, it works pretty well. The field service app, it's for on-site work. It's for when you're sending people out into the field, both logging time and maybe they're logging materials too that they use. You want to use it for installations. You want to use it for maintenance on site. You want to use it for troubleshooting, inspections, whatever. And you can log time when they're on site using the timesheets app that we just mentioned. And they can also log materials and components if they're using stuff in the field. It also has a really nice custom worksheet they can use to input when they're on the job. I want to highlight the map and route planning, which is really nice. So the way it works is, let's say you have several jobs to do in a day, and you can view them on a map like this. If you want to, you can click View It in Google Maps, and then it can automatically create a route for you right away. And so that makes it really easy for field service workers that are driving all over a large area and they're trying to plan their day. Help desk, that lets you have a full support department to provide customer service. It focuses around tickets, which customers can submit in a variety of different ways, and then you can work on those tickets and try to solve them. It has a lot of different connections with other apps. It can do things like it can create returns, it can create refunds, if you do refunds, it can do repair orders, or it can log field service appointments too. And one really nice feature, which is its own kind of related app, is you can use the live chat tool, which I'm going to highlight right here. Integrated live chat. We use it ourselves quite a lot. It's intuitive. Basically, if a customer is browsing your website, they might see this live chat tab and they might start a live chat conversation. If they click on it, then they're having a conversation with a live chat operator. And this is what it looks like on the back end. So this is what your employee would see. It's really easy for them to manage multiple chats at once. You can forward it over to another person or loop in a manager, whatever. But it's a great feature, and it's something that you can use not just for support, but also if you want to generate leads too. And then there's the planning app. It's a really easy employee scheduling tool. It really shines well with shift management if you're a manager and you're planning out shifts for the week ahead and who needs to work when. It's got a Gantt style planning feature to visualize it all and to help you anticipate when there's going to be conflicts or when you're going to have gaps where you need to reassign somebody. And you can use it within the Projects app to help you plan the deadlines and forecast employee time per project. It's really helpful with the planning app to be able to visualize all the different blocks of time, and you can schedule things based on different criteria. So here you can see you got your different team members, and you can get an idea pretty quickly of who is more available than others, who is being utilized more efficiently than others too. And you can drag and drop things around. There's a lot to it. Those are our service apps. I'm going to go ahead and put them here on the right. I guess my head's kind of blocking one of them, but it's okay because we're going to zoom in. And there it is, service apps. First, the project and the timesheets, they're very closely integrated because you can log time on your project tasks. Similarly, you can log time on your support tickets too. And then there's the whole planning app, which allows you to allocate your employee resources on the various projects that you're working on. And then the field service app, to be honest, the field service app, it's really just a modified version of project. So a field service, it's like a project, except it has additional features that are specific to field service, like map routes and logging components. Our friend, the sales app, which has many connections, it connects to the project app in a very big way because you could sell a service, and the moment you sell that service, it can automatically generate a new project or a new task within the project app. And that's usually what you do if you sell some sort of consulting service. You sell the service, and then it makes a task to work with and log your time. And then finally, the inventory app, it connects to field service because your on-site field service technicians, they might consume some components while they're out on a job. All right, we're officially halfway through this app map. Now, I should point out that there's a lot more connections and integrated workflows than the ones I'm highlighting today, but it gives you a pretty good idea, and I'm trying to select some of the main ones that are going to give you the most value most easily. I should also say that it's probably best to zoom in to see this, but maybe you're looking at this on a phone. It's okay. If you want, you can reach out to me afterwards, and I can send you the slides, or I can send you just the infographic so you can zoom in. We're happy to share it. It's open source material. All right, second half. This was a little bit faster because there's actually less apps to cover in this, so we'll get through it. Here we have our websites group, which includes the website itself, e-commerce, e-learning, and appointments. Technically on the website, on the odoo.com website, the appointments app, it's listed under the services, but to me, it's more of a website thing. I don't know, my preference. So yeah, obviously these apps, they're all about having an online presence and providing a front end that connects to the back end. The main website app itself, it does what it says. It's an app to build and host a website, but it's part of your overall Odoo database. It's not separate. It's connected automatically to your overall Odoo database. It's fantastic for users that either have a non-technical background or a technical background, and it has advanced creation tools like custom themes to use, building blocks, and it even has this really nice configurator based on your industry. So if you say that you have a job or you have a company that works with horses, it can automatically generate a website for you that has a theme that's based off of that and has stock photos of horses if you want to. It's pretty cool. It automatically always is optimized for mobile, so you don't have to do anything separately to make sure it works well on a phone or an iPad. And it has a ton of great extra add-on modules and themes for the website, like these. Blog, which lets you create content online. We use it ourselves at Odoo for our customer case studies, for example. And then Forum, which kind of serves as an online knowledge base for online communications, where anybody can go and post questions and answer. And if you haven't checked it out, the Odoo online forum is awesome, and it goes back many, many years. And there's a lot of geniuses there that are solving problems and providing really good information there. So it's cool. Now, as a key feature, I've already talked about the customer portal a lot, but I'm going to talk about it again because it really is such a huge strength. A lot of times when we say portal, this is what we're referring to. We're referring to your customer might log in with their email and their password, and then they see something like this. It's a list of the information that is relevant to them. So they might click on sales orders to get the status of a sale, which could also give them the delivery status and possibly FedEx or UPS tracking information if you use one of the shipping integrations we have. Or maybe back from the portal, they might click on their invoices, and then they're looking at their invoice, which can prompt them to pay for it, which is really nice. So it's a huge strength to have that easy kind of robust interaction with your clients. And in case it's confusing, your customers, you don't have to pay to have your customers access your portal. They're not like an individual license. They're just considered free portal users. So just to point that out. Our e-commerce app, it's the most common add-on for the website because it allows you to publish your products and sell stuff either B2C or B2B. So customers, they can place their orders online, and then these orders immediately flow into the back end of Odoo Sales and flows into accounting too. There's an immediate connection to your back-end inventory for the product catalog, stock levels, warehouse availability, stuff like that. And it allows you to host multiple online shops if you want to, all connected to the same database. So yeah, multi-e-commerce at no additional fee to do that, which is pretty amazing. Now, there's a lot of nice modern e-commerce features that we have. There's a ton of features, so you should really check it out if you're interested. But one that's really nice is the way we handle variants and the product configurator. So for example, you can have a product like this and it can have different attributes and values like what legs to choose, what color. So you can choose the color black and it'll change the picture accordingly, for example. Then once you add it to the cart, it could do a pop-up where it actually suggests certain add-ons, like maybe you add an additional chair to go with it as an upsell, or maybe a service. So it could be a physical product or it could be a service like a warranty. And the best thing about all this is that it's really easy to set up the variants. You don't have to be a fancy programmer to know how to do this really easily. Next app, e-learning. It's a little unique. It's actually used to offer your own educational courses online. It's really user-friendly to make the content, and it can be all sorts of content. Like it could be infographics, it could be articles, videos, documents. You can also include interactive quizzes along the way with scores to kind of keep points, which is kind of fun, or certification exams. And you can track personal progress as you go. Now, like most of the apps we've talked about today, we ourselves use e-learning within Odoo for the public. And so anybody is welcome to go to the Odoo e-learning and start working through the online content and see how it works. I recommend it if you haven't done it. You don't even have to be a paid customer to get access to the e-learning, and you can learn a lot. So I'm going to highlight the points and awards gamification. It's kind of fun. As you can see here, you can assign points for certain tasks. Like if you complete this quiz, you get 10 points, and then that saves to your online portal user. And then you might earn badges, and you might show up in the ranking as maybe you're the worldwide first place winner in the system. Sometimes I think gamification like this can be a little silly, but for learning, I think gamification is great. And people get really competitive about it too. They like to level up, they like to make progress, and they like to brag about it, sometimes on social media. It's good. The Appointments app, it's a really good way to let your customers book appointments online with your employees. So you can offer different kinds of appointment that are linked to different individuals or different teams. Alternatively, employees could use it themselves to generate a personal booking link that they can send out to people to schedule with them. And very importantly, it all relies on the internal Odoo Calendar app, which is included. It's like a bonus app. And the Calendar app, it connects with Google. It synchronizes with Outlook too, if you want. So it's connected in that way. And I'm going to highlight that the Appointments app, it can connect to the CRM app because if you want, you can have it generate opportunities whenever somebody books an appointment. So you just set it up in such a way so that when a client goes online to book it, they choose a time. It's looking in the back end to check the availability of your different employees that are set up for this. And then they fill out their basic information, their name, what are they looking for, whatever questions you have them fill out. And then on the back end, it creates a new CRM opportunity with the calendar meeting linked up at the top here, at the top. So it's a nice, easy way to begin tracking the new potential business and capture potential just when people book with you. All right, those are our website apps. That was pretty quick. Let's throw them on the left side over here because we have a lot of space. And you'll notice I combined website and e-commerce together here because that's what it does in an Odoo database. Once you have them both installed, it just shows up as website. So pretty straightforward. I'm going to zoom in right here. A lot of these connections should be pretty obvious, but e-learning content, it's all hosted on the website. That's why it's e-learning. It's on the website. Similarly, people that visit the website, they can book appointments using the appointment app add-on. And then there's a very important connection between e-commerce and sales because any orders that come in online, they're basically sales orders and they show up as a channel within sales. And then CRM, it's connected because you can create leads and opportunities from a contact form on the website, which you should definitely do because it's a great way to get the best kind of leads and opportunities of people that are really interested. In addition, you can also create opportunities from appointments like I just showed. Yeah, so if we really wanted to, we could draw a ton of connecting lines connecting the website app to a lot of these different apps because as I've said many times, a lot of these apps, you can share that information on the website through the customer portal. But I'm not going to do that because that would be really crazy looking. That's enough of the website apps. Let's move on to the next group, marketing. We have 4 marketing apps, and they're all about raising your company's brand awareness. They're all about drawing attention and hopefully drawing in new clients. If we got email marketing, marketing automation, social marketing, and events. Email marketing lets you manage your mass mailing. It's kind of like MailChimp. It's like our version of MailChimp, for example. First, you build out different email templates using nice drag and drop tools, very similar to how you build out the website. After the email blasts go out, you can report on those open rates and report on how many people clicked on something, for example. And then as an add-on, if you want, you can have the same kind of mass communication flows using text messages using the free SMS marketing app. That's another one that uses in-app purchases. So you could use credits if you want to mass send out text messages. And I would say use it responsibly because nobody likes too much spamming. One of the best things about the email marketing app is that it works well with your Odoo records. And so you can choose the segment of who's being sent to. In this screenshot, this shows where you can configure the mass mail. And I'm going to go ahead and choose to send it to some of my contacts as opposed to, say, my leads or as opposed to my vendors. I'm just choosing contacts. And then you get to choose some filters to narrow it down. So in this case, I'm choosing the country of United States. So I'm going to send it to US customers. I'm going to choose ones where the company is set. So they're an actual company. They're not just an individual. And for whatever reason, I'm not sending it to Texas. Maybe it's a message that Texas wouldn't like. I don't know. So you can be really specific about the audience, and you can do this as many times and as detailed as you need. Next app, marketing automation. It basically builds on top of the email marketing app, but it lets you create multi-step automated campaigns for it. So you can set up different campaigns for, say, drip marketing to your old leads, or maybe you can send it to anybody that went online and abandoned a shopping cart. What's really beneficial is that the interactions that happen with the email recipients can trigger actions in Odoo, like it can create a lead for you, or it can update some record in Odoo for you. And you'll be able to get the same kind of detailed reporting that you would get in email marketing. So one thing I really like about email marketing automation is the campaign visualization. And what I mean by that is, in this example here, here's a campaign. It's sending this email to people 1 hour after they enter the campaign. So say they qualify to be in this campaign, 1 hour later, they're going to get this email. Then 7 days after that, if they haven't bought anything, it'll send another email to them. And then if they reply to that email, you have it set up to send an internal message to their assigned sales rep to let them know that they need to reach out to them. So yeah, marketing automation for us, really, it's a combination of automated communication and then automated internal actions. It's that combination together that's really, really valuable. Social marketing, I think it's pretty obvious what that does. It's a centralized place to manage your business's different social media feeds. We're going to add more with time, and we've added more as of just the last few years. But for now, it's mostly Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, also known as Twitter, YouTube, or you can also use it for push notifications for anybody that's browsing your website. The biggest convenience about it is that it lets you just monitor and engage everything from one place. I think that's kind of nice. So it's easy to highlight, but basically for any of your feeds, you can manage them from within Odoo. So for example, you can click on an Instagram post and you can view all the comments, and then you can respond to those comments from there. So it makes it easier to do things like you can create an opportunity directly from there, or you can share an easy link to your e-commerce from there, something like that. And you don't have to jump back and forth between all of them. The last marketing app I'm going to talk about is Events, which we actually use to arrange this particular little scheduled webinar. It's for planning and hosting both traditional live events or online events. First, you can advertise it and you can sell registration tickets, just like any e-commerce product, if you want to monetize it. And if you want, you can collect sponsors for the events, you can collect guest speakers, and manage different talks within the event. I should point out that Odoo's relied on events for hundreds of live events, including our annual Odoo Experience event in Belgium, which always has tens of thousands of guests. And we're able to manage both the online version of it and the live version of it. So it's robust and it's quite capable. I just want to show this nice online agenda generator. So if you have a bunch of talks and you have them on a schedule, you can show this on your event page on the website so customers can see this, and then they can use tags to filter through to kind of build their own schedule of what they want to see, or print it out if you want. It's nice. Here on the app, I'm going to go ahead and put the marketing apps close to the website because marketing and website should be very closely related. Zooming in over here, email marketing. It sends emails to both contacts and CRM opportunities. That's the most common use case for it. And then you can make it more advanced if you want to by building out automated campaigns with marketing automation. Then the Events app, it connects very closely to website and e-commerce because you can advertise your events on the website and you can sell tickets to the events online. The Social Marketing app, in addition to controlling social feeds, you can also use it to send push notifications to anybody that's browsing your website. And the website, it also has a nice connection with marketing automation, because you could use marketing automation to automatically send emails to people that abandon an online shopping cart, for example. By the way, as previously recommended, I do recommend viewing this in full screen if you can, because it is getting detailed. You can use your gigantic projector screen in your living room if you want, impress all of your friends. We just have 2 more quick app groups to go. So we have 5 main apps in the HR suite. We got employees, recruitment, referrals, appraisals, and time off. And this is all about dealing with your employees and dealing with your employee resources, which are not just resources, but also humans. So employees, pretty straightforward. It's the main HR app that we have. It's used for managing your total staff directory, whether they're paid users or not. Really nice organization and really nice filtering tools so that you can sort it and arrange it all by manager, by department, by working location, that kind of thing. It's very secure too, so you could be careful about making sensitive HR information private as needed. You don't necessarily want all of your employees seeing everything about other employees. And it's the main connecting point. It's the main hub for anything related to the other HR apps. I'll just very quickly show off the auto-generated employee hierarchy organizational charts. And they're nice and drilled down too. So if it says that somebody manages 3 people, for example, you can click on it and see, oh, who are those 3 people? Nice and easy to visualize. Sometimes it's helpful when you're learning the ropes. Recruitment, that's for posting, for screening, for hiring. It's also known as an ATS or applicant tracking system, sorry. And to prove how effective it is, Odoo has been using the recruitment app for years and years, and it's allowed it to explode the headcount worldwide, doubling to about 4,200 in just about 3 years, worldwide employees. So yeah, it definitely works. And yeah, one nice thing is that all of the new hired recruits that you bring in, they're automatically brought into the employees app as employees to save some time. So yeah, part of the benefit of recruitment comes from the way that you can incorporate custom forms, both for the initial application and for signing the employee contracts. So here's an applicant that you've been trying to recruit. So you're ready to propose a contract. So the recruiter or the hiring manager can click generate an offer from there. Then there's a pop-up for them where they get to specify specific information like the job title, the salary, and then use a template for it that they've set up. Then they send it to the candidate, and then this is what the candidate would receive. And maybe the candidate now has to sign and fill out a custom form, like some basic HR intake information. So that whole process can be really smooth, and it takes away old-fashioned things like reviewing a PDF document, printing something out, that kind of thing. Lets you speed up your hiring. The Appraisals app, it's meant for handling the annual reviews and progress of your employees. So you can schedule recurring appraisal meetings like a quarterly review, annual, whatever, not just for the employee, but also their manager, so they can keep track of it when they have large departments of employees. And for each employee, you get to set goals and track the progress over time. And it does a really good job of incorporating evaluation forms using this add-on bonus app, Surveys, if you want to incorporate. And that's what I'm going to highlight here. You can have an appraisal form built off of Odoo Surveys. This is how you configure it on the back end. You basically make up a series of questions, and then you specify different types of answer, like multiple choice, whatever. And then this is what the employee would see, something like this, nice and user-friendly, where they can go and then fill this out. We ourselves use this in Odoo to help us out with our 4,000 plus employees when they have their annual appraisals. And then there's the Referrals app. It's a system to encourage your employees to refer their friends or colleagues to apply to your company. And it's set up a little bit like a game. It's got a nice gamified way of how it's set up. It incentivizes people to try to bring in candidates because there's a reward system. They can earn points for any resume they generate. They can earn points for how far along their referrals get in the hiring process too. And it seems to work really well because I checked, and several hundred of our own Odoo hires every year come from referrals. So, it might seem like a silly gamified system, but it really does legitimately work. It's a good way to get more applicants, but also get stronger applicants. So yeah, you could take a look right here at what an employee would see after they've referred some applicants. Each applicant gets a little box here, and then they can see exactly how far are they in the process, and then how many points has the employee earned by doing that. And then you can have rewards and collect prizes based on how many points they earn. It's a good way to help grow the organization. And then next we have the Time Off app. Pretty straightforward. It's where your employees log their vacation time, where they log their sick time, or maybe use it for logging work from home requests. It's really quick and easy for your employees to request time off in just a couple of clicks, which is good because chances are they're sick at home or they're in the hospital and they don't have a lot of time. They just want to do it on their phone real quick. And then when they do it, it immediately goes to their manager or supervisor so that they can be aware and so that they can either approve or deny the request. And if you want, you can also set up some accrual plans so that they can accrue more vacation time throughout the year as they work. I want to highlight the planning view that managers see when they're receiving requests for time off. As you can see, they get some overlapping requests and they can know, oh, there's too many people that are off. And so they might ask the employee to maybe move their vacation time around or something like that. But it's good visibility for the manager. All right, let's throw in these HR apps, taking up almost all the rest of the space, and we'll zoom in. Let's start with how the recruitment process connects to website, because you can advertise your job postings and then you can collect resumes and applicants through the website. The Appointments app, it can help a lot with the interviewing process because hiring managers, they can use appointments for personal links to schedule the interviews. And that's good because a lot of times recruiters spend a lot of their time just trying to coordinate appointments for interviews. So then once somebody's hired, it automatically gets added to your employee records and the employee's app with all their info. And if you want, you can speed up and improve that process by using the referral system for more word-of-mouth applicants. And down here, employees, they can manage their vacation time and their sick time using the Time Off app. Over time, you can do your annual reviews using the Appraisals app. So as you can see, a lot of this stuff really is based around the Employees app. And we're back. It's nearly complete, but it's missing just a few things. So our last group is productivity apps. You might also consider this sort of a miscellaneous group because they're not necessarily directly related to each other. Really, these apps, they could be used in a variety of different ways across the platform. They're all meant to improve functionality, improve usability, and make your workers more productive. We have approvals, Internet of Things, 2 new apps, WhatsApp and Knowledge, and then my favorite, Studio. Approvals, it's a very multi-purpose way to set up approval flows where employees can request permission for anything to be granted by specific people. Real-life examples might be they're requesting a new computer, or they're requesting a copy of a document, or maybe they're requesting some special payment terms, something like that. And it could have multiple layers of approval to say yes or no to the approval request. It's really easy to set specific custom forms with specific custom fields. And then every step of the way, you can keep people informed with automatic notifications to managers and stuff like that. One common use case that's pretty good, that's built into it by default, is the RFQ request flow, which ties into purchasing. So you can see on the screen, this employee, they're requesting for an RFQ to go out through the purchasing department for this particular fuel intake part. So they click submit up here, and then the manager gets it automatically. And once the manager reviews it, maybe they do some research and say they want to approve it, they can then go ahead and submit the RFQs to be created. Then when they do that, it creates something in purchasing. So the main idea is that you can have a workflow that goes to a manager to say yes or no, and then by the end of that, it can automatically generate a purchase order for you in the purchasing app. Very multi-purpose app. Internet of Things, or IoT, that's all about connecting software to specific kinds of hardware. It's a unique app that lets you hook up physical devices like calipers or measuring devices, scales, foot switches, stuff like that. And the setup with it is pretty easy, especially if you're using standard USB and Bluetooth devices. I should say sometimes you might need to have a special driver built if it's depending on the tool. But a lot of times it's very easy. And I would say that the most common use cases we see are for either point of sale or manufacturing. There's a lot of hardware involved there. So it's hard to show off IoT capabilities without seeing it live. But here's a quick example of a diagram of what it might look like. Optionally, you can either use a physical Odoo IoT box, or you can get your own box, which is really just a Raspberry Pi. And you can connect it to all sorts of things. Like you can connect it to a router for Wi-Fi, or hook it up to a cash drawer, a printer, something to collect payment, something like that. And note in many cases, you don't even need a physical device. You could actually use a virtual IoT. For best results, if you're curious about this, reach out to your Odoo representative or partner, somebody like that. Now, a more recent addition that many people are excited about worldwide is our WhatsApp integration. It's pretty robust, and it can be used for a lot of different channels across the platform to handle external communication. For best results, it relies on templates, many of which are preloaded in the system, though you can, of course, make your own. The overall API with Meta is easy to set up, which is impressive because it's not always easy to work with Meta. And the reason it's so robust within Odoo is because it directly relies on this app, Discuss. As you remember at the beginning of this webinar when we talked about the chatter, that's basically a form of the Discuss app. It's kind of like our internal communication tool. It's across all the apps. It's kind of like our Slack. So I want to show off the WhatsApp message template builder. As you build it, you get to see a nice preview of what your WhatsApp message is going to look like. You'll notice that there is dynamic placeholder text like the order number, the name of the customer, the total of it. And then you can have a couple of dynamic links like a link to your orders in your portal or a link to contact support, all in a nice, quick, easy to view WhatsApp template right there. The Knowledge app, that's also a new one. It's mostly meant to be an internal resource for your employees across your organization to centralize all the info together so they can access it from any app while they're doing their job. The editing tools, they're similar to Notion if you're familiar with that app. So they're pretty advanced and gives you a lot of options for formatting and stuff like that, while still being really easy to work with. It allows you to incorporate stuff from the Odoo platform, like you could have lists of products, for example. And you can really be careful about the access rights. So it's not like just anybody can totally mess up your knowledge article internally. The biggest purpose of it, and the main reason why we have it, is so that it can empower your organization, train them faster, but also keep them aligned so they're all kind of on the same page. I'm going to highlight incorporated email templates, which is a cool use case. Let's say that you've got a sales rep working on an opportunity right here, but they're kind of new in your company, and so they don't have all the answers. and they want to send out a quote. So they can actually click on this knowledge articles button over here from the opportunity. It'll do a pop-up where they can select, say, the sales playbook. And then from the sales playbook, it can give them some nice advice on what to do. It might have a couple different templates to choose from. And then they might want to choose, okay, this email template looks good. I'm going to go ahead and send it out. So they click a button, they send out the email to their opportunity automatically. Pretty nice. Last but not least is Odoo Studio. Studio, it's our tool for customization to modify all the existing Odoo apps and also create your own stuff. It has really nice drag and drop editing tools that generate code for you. It lets you do things like change the name of existing fields and change existing behavior for things. And more powerfully, you can create new connections, new models, new automations, and connect apps together that maybe are not already connected. It's very powerful, and it gives you a lot of control, but also speeds up the time for us when we're doing implementations, or for your partners when they're doing implementations too. So one really powerful thing you could do is automated actions more easily. So let's say in the repairs app, you want the system to automatically send an email to your customer when their repair order is finished. So you could choose the trigger or the condition. In this case, let's say once this repair order is set to a particular status, like when it's finished, and then you choose your action. There's a few different options, but a very common one is to send an email, and you get to choose which email template, of course. So then you have your automated action. It says that when the status is repaired, it's going to send this email. Very easy. I should say that some automated actions, to do more advanced things, you might need to write some Python code. But even so, even then, this setup can really make it faster and easier to kind of work with. All right, let's finish off our famous Odoo app map. And again, you might want to view it in full screen to see the details. I'm just going to go ahead and add the productivity apps down here at the bottom, because that's where there's space. I'm choosing not to draw any connecting lines at all to these apps, mostly because they're designed to be multi-purpose and kind of apply to all the different apps in the platform. Don't worry about it. And there you have it. So one group at a time, we've built out this app map to highlight that even if you might initially just pick and choose one app or pick and choose one app group, ultimately, Odoo, it's all one connected platform. And coincidentally, we like to think that Odoo is very beautiful. We like to think it's a work of art. And so this map, it just kind of happens to look like a beautiful butterfly or a mariposa. And it might help you to visualize it. It might help you to retain some of this. Maybe not. I'm a visual learner. Either way, I had fun making it. So there it is. Like I mentioned earlier, if you want me to just send a copy of this to you for easy reference, happy to send it to you as a slide in an email. You can just reach out. In conclusion, let's wrap it up. I hope in this long webinar, you were able to see and understand that each individual Odoo app has a very specific purpose and it exists for a specific need, usually to serve a department, to serve a workflow. And for every app, we really try to make it as usable as possible so people can learn it quickly. But we also try to make it as flexible as possible too, so you can really modify it and meet your needs how you need. And then finally, the real key to Odoo's value and the real reason why Odoo has been successful all these years is of the integrated workflows that you get. It's those relationships between the modules that really opens it up and gives you a lot of power for how you use it. And that is it. I just want to say thank you for sitting through this long thing. I know it's a lot, but I hope that you got something out of it. I hope that it gave you a new understanding and maybe simplified it, which is the main goal. Of course, you can subscribe to any of these things. You can check out updates. You can watch future webinars. I should just say, if you want to reach out to me, you can. My email, I'm not writing it down, but it's B as in boy, H as in hotel, Y as in Yahoo @odoo.com. You can reach out to me if you want any questions. Of course, you can reach out to your Odoo representative. We're happy to share whatever. And if there's time, I know we went way over time, you could share questions too, and I'll try to answer them. But otherwise, it's okay if we just talk about questions afterwards. So I'll just scan it real quick and see if we have anything. But it looks like, I think we're all set, and I think we can go ahead and wrap it up. Yeah, I think we're good. So yeah, if you have a question, you can go ahead and, like I said, reach out to any of the known channels that you have. And I just want to say thanks again for joining. Always happy to have interested members of the community checking out our content. And until next time, take care.